What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back once again, and we are finally going to be talking about the recent new episode of Digimon Adventure. We're going to finally talk about episode 53. Once again, let me know what your thoughts were about the episode down in the comments. But also, if you guys have not seen it, go check it out, and then come back and let me know what you guys think, because I do not want to spoil anything for you. But let's go ahead and get into the video. What we are going to be talking about is we do see where the rest of the crew did arrive to the hot springs, but we do see that it is not the hot springs Joe remembers. Joe, Gamon, we see TK, Kari, they all see just snow, and then they meet a mysterious Digimon that says that things are not the way it seemed, but his lord has some kind of hot springs that they can show them. So he leads them to a sort of like a shogun palace, and we see this massive frog-like Digimon that is bathing in the hot springs. And it's really weird because everyone is pretty much wanting to worship this Digimon. And it's really disturbing because the Digimon, as soon as he sees Gamamon, he just like, oh, you're going to be my new bride, and he just takes him, and then he blasts Joe and everyone out, and then Joe tries again to save Gamamon, but unfortunately, he just keeps getting blasted back, and when he gets blasted back the second time, that's when Tai and Agumon show up, and they explain the situation, and they come up with a plan to save Gamamon. Now, I will say, this episode was rather very silly, kind of stupid on a few things. I do not like how they, I mean, because again, it just was really weird. It was really weird because of the whole, oh, you're gonna be my bride, and all this. Again, to me, it was rather very silly. But also, what really helped the episode was, again, we see where the Digimon that Gomon as well as Joe became friends with, in a way that did, I guess, live around the area of the hot springs. They wanted to pretty much revolt to help bring back the hot springs, so that way everyone could be able to use it. And when we see this happen, we see where everyone comes up with a plan, and then the assistant to the Lord now the hot springs comes in and explains, hey, there's another hot spring, and that was part of Joe's plan. Like, okay, let's go ahead and make sure that there's another hot spring, because once this occurs, they won't be able to resist themselves. So we do see where it does get revealed that this frog-like type of Digimon cannot survive outside of a hot temperature with the, I would say, probably some type of weird, I don't know. It was interesting because I really find it crazy that they wanted to have this Digimon where he was just constantly in hot water, literally, and then when he starts explaining to the Lord that, hey, I want to go in here, and he just jumps in, then it later gets revealed it was a trap, and then we see where Gomon, of course, digivolves into Kakumon, and they start battling, and then realizes, okay, hey, it wasn't an actual hot spring, we just used water, heated it up, and we dug it, and the more coal we put in here, the more it's going to be. So it was really cool that they were able to distract him. And of course, we have where Tai and Agumon handle the assistant, and we see this massive battle between Greymon as well as this Digimon. Now, it wasn't like a big battle, but it was rather interesting just to the way that they did it. And I still think it was really rather cool. And then we do see where turns into male Greymon, able to finish the fight, and then of course we see the super evolution for Gamamon, and he's able to finish the fight rather quickly and explain, hey, this is for everyone, and it's going to go back to the way it is. The hot springs are for everybody. And then when everything calms down and it shows that they've been beaten, the hot springs go back to the way they were, and of course everyone's bathing in the hot springs, because for some reason, I guess with the last battle for Patamon and Gatomon, that took a lot out of them, so they're still unable to fight for some weird, crazy reason. So, I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see what exactly the reason is why they cannot fight. Hopefully this will be able to help them after bathing in these hot springs, I guess, to relax them and gather their energy back to full strength, which would make a lot of sense. But then we also see where the same ones that Joe beat, they're like still freezing, and he says, well, why don't y'all come in? And he just looks at him. He says, so we can still come into the spring. He says, yes, didn't I say it was for everybody? So it really does show that Joe does not really care about, certain things. He just wants everyone to be at peace. He just wants, he just wants happiness. He just wants people to be nice to everyone and be able to live in peace. So it was rather a very good episode. I feel like some of it was rather silly, and I think some of it was kind of unnecessary with some of the just the weirdness that was going on with Gamamon as well as the fish. It was just rather silly. It was funny, but it was silly and kind of stupid. And again, but I did enjoy the fight scene. I think it was rather smart of how they handled the situation, and also how they wanted to handle the situation. So either way, I think it was an okay episode. Probably not as good as last week's episode. I still think that last week's episode, I think, was better than this one. I like the snow environment, that I guess whatever happened with the hot springs, the way that they diverted it, that they were able to have the hot springs become rather cold. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. But either way, I think this episode was okay. I'm not saying it was the best episode. I'm not saying it was the worst, but it was an alright episode. So let me know what your thoughts were about the episode down in the comments down below. If you guys are new to the channel, still about subscribing, leave a big fat like on the video if you guys enjoyed it. Also click the notifications so you guys know every time I upload. Once again, click the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. Helps against the YouTube algorithm. But once again, I will be back next week talking about more Digimon with you guys, and I'll see you, of course, as always, on the next one.